Hello friends, James Stevenson with a video celebrating the 4-year anniversary, I'm a little late making the video, of the Model Y Unveil and the takes that the Tesla short sellers and haters and trolls had at the time for what they thought their prospects were for Tesla ever selling any of those Tesla Model Ys. I am joined by my co-host Loki, who is sitting up in bed. Maybe he will eat his breakfast in this video because he did not eat his breakfast in the previous video. Yes, good boy. There's more breakfast for you right here, buddy. You eat more whenever you're ready, okay? Alright, come on down. Come on down and eat, buddy. Okay, we'll see if he eats. And I will share my desktop with you and show you a thread that I tweeted, March 14th, just a few days ago, to mark the occasion. So I said 4 years ago tonight, Tesla unveiled Model Y, and in that short period of time, on the scale of automaking, anyway, that's a short period of time, it became the best-selling premium electric SUV in China, the best-selling EV of any kind in the US, and the best-selling EV of any kind in Europe. It was the best-selling EV. I think it was the number 4 best-selling vehicle of any kind in Europe, so I saw some bad info on that from an Electrek article. I'll go ahead and throw them under the bus because that was the reason why I got this wrong in the first part of my tweet. I misread something they had put in an article that made it sound, well, we'll get to it at the end. So I hashtagged Tesla at the end here and Elon Musk. It was the best-selling vehicle of any kind in California, so that would have been a good way to end the tweet. Oh, it's right here. So I don't have to wait to the end of the thread. It's already here. So it says, after edging out gas-powered vehicles in Europe for the best-selling car title, the Model Y looks to do the same in the US. So what Fred meant was that in some of the months of 2022, Model Y was the best-selling vehicle of any kind in Europe, but not all the months combined. Okay, so that was that one. Loki, did you eat all your food? You did. You're such a good boy. All right, let's get you a treat. Let's get you a puppy combo. Good boy. Alright. And I'll move the puppy cam a little closer since he is done. Hold on. There. Get a little more height on the Loki cam. Tilt this down some. There we go. So you can keep an eye on Loki as he eats his treat. What else did I put in here? Well, this is the EU-EVs site. I just recorded a video with another news source, Europe.autonews.com, that reported the same thing with bigger numbers, actually. More than 100,000 Model Ys identified in 2022 by Europe.autonews.com. This unknown business is because in some countries when you register, they only report which brand your vehicle was and not which model it was. So that's what unknown is about. It's mostly going to be Model Ys and some Model 3s. But that's one of my sources that I showed. And here's another one. Top selling premium SUVs at retail in China in 2022. And Model Y for the second year in a row was the top-selling premium SUV by more than double the second place vehicle. So that's pretty great. So these are the results. The results are in. The scoreboard has been lit up by Tesla selling a ton of Model Ys. But what did people think at the time of the unveil? Well, let's go through and read their responses from March the 14th, 2019. Here's one from Wolfgang Pipperger, who is, I think, a Daimler executive in, I want to say, Poland or Czech Republic, one of those. I think it's hard for non-Tesla people to understand what this car actually is. LOL, it's amazing what nonsense gets aired nowadays. Those who don't buy the hype just don't understand it. Got it, cultist. So that was Wolfie's take on the matter. I don't think he minds the nickname Wolfie. Let me move the Loki cam here so you get his face in the shot. That's good. Mark B. Spiegel told QTR Research that the best case scenario for Tesla was if Elon stepped down as CEO and let a real car company executive like Alan Mulally run the company. And the stock price might only fall to $35 at the time, which is $2.33 if you adjust it for stock splits that have occurred since then. 5 for 1 back in 2020, 3 for 1 in 2022, or that Tesla would just need to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Pulls out, this year,
we said, back this up.
It would be bad enough if they brought in a really good guy to be CEO and Musk was still there. I mean, if they brought, obviously he's not going to come out of retirement, but if they brought in like an Alan Mulally type, somebody who they were hoping.
I like Alan Mulally. I would love to see that.
No, but wait, but let me make my point.
Go ahead.
It would be bad enough if they brought him in and Musk was still hanging out, right? But an Alan Mulally or someone at his level would never come in if Musk were still there. And if Musk completely left, and an Alan Mulally type came in, and I'm not saying he would ever do it, but, somebody came in, he would immediately put this company into restructuring, or at the very least, way damp down Musk's bullshit and say, look, we're not going to have the Model Y out that fast. We're not going to sell 600,000 cars a year next year, whatever the bullshit Musk pulls out. This year, he said, whatever, 400 or 500, whatever. He would, and the stock would collapse then. People would say, oh, okay, the company's in good hands, but now it's just a car company. Now that we're learning the truth, right? So there's no good outcome here. The only good outcome is, for the stock price, the only good outcome is, Musk goes completely, a competent guy comes in, he drastically pulls everything back, and you have a $35 stock, right? That's like the best outcome, right? Or the guy comes in and says, this is ridiculous. We have a 20 billion, whatever it is, dollar commitment to buy batteries from Panasonic. We have, 10 billion in debt on top of that, whatever. We have all this. I'm just restructuring this thing. And we're throwing it into 11, and we'll start again, and we'll franchise out the dealership.
All right, so you got the feel for that. I noticed just now that I spelled Alan Mulally's name wrong, and then I had to Google it to make sure that I had correctly identified that I spelled his name wrong. It's the L. The single L comes first, and the double L comes second. And nobody called me on that. I guess people get the idea. Proofreading ain't what it used to be. I try to minimize the number of errors I make when I send out tweets, and usually do a pretty good job of that. I don't know how I put the L's in the wrong place. I got to move one of those L's later in the word Mulally. The next, I wish I could edit that, but it's been more than 30 minutes, so I can't. I'm not going to play you that audio again. I'll only subject you to having to listen to Mark B. Spiegel once. The other voice that you heard there was Chris Irons, who is the longtime Tesla hater and host of the QTR podcast and owner of the Quoth the Raven QTR Research account on Twitter. So he's blocked me. He blocked me 4 years ago or more for saying stuff he didn't want to hear about Tesla. Here's one from me. Elon Musk has since gained over 100 million followers. Thanks for the timestamp, Zero Shorts. Oh, so the screenshot is from Zero Shorts, longtime Tesla Q member, who was complaining that Elon Musk didn't put a basic disclaimer in his profile, about This is not investment advice, for entertainment purposes only, do your own research, etc. He wanted to see one of those in Elon Musk's Twitter profile and didn't see one, but what he did show was Elon only had 25 million followers 4 years ago, and he has added 100 million plus followers since. So that's pretty incredible. Next, a tweet from Tesla Charts, who said, I said Tesla Charts was one of many short sellers concerned that Model Y was too similar to Model 3. Saying, thought experiment, imagine last night was a Model 3 refresh reveal. It would have been panned as too similar. As a completely separate vehicle? Yeah, right. Hashtag fraud. Hashtag Tesla. Hashtag Tesla Q. So, yeah, Tesla Charts thought that it was fraud for Tesla to sell a Model Y that looks just like the best-selling premium SUV in China, the best-selling electric vehicle in Europe, the best-selling vehicle of any kind in California. Too similar to Model 3. It'll never sell, is what Tesla Charts thought at the time. Here's one from John Engel at Almington Cap, longtime Tesla hater, short seller, troll, prolific Seeking Alpha article author of articles that always seem to imply Tesla's on the verge of bankruptcy. He seems skeptical there would ever be a 7-seat Model Y, so 5 seats definitely, 7 seats maybe not. He said, well, you can buy a 7-seat Model Y, as many thousands of people have. Here's a Skabushka and Elon Bachman pairing of screenshots. What did they think? Well, read it for yourself. Let's see this one. Musk's Model Y Unveil was designed with one thing in mind: don't let anyone take a good look at the Model Y. Seminal work on visual perception by Simon and Chabris below. Though Tesla Q bears tend to enjoy their conspicuousness. Conspicuity isn't a word. Nice try, Skabushka. Next, so what's he retweeting? He's retweeting Elon Bachman, who said, 1 stage, 2 deposits, 3 tricky lighting, 4 tents. If you had a bear playing the piccolo on a tricycle, you couldn't make it more obvious that Tesla is a carnival. So he said this is not a real product unveil. Tesla isn't really going to make this vehicle. They don't even really have a vehicle designed yet. Tricky lighting keeps you from being able to see that it's just a modified Model 3. That was the rumor going around on Twitter at the time. Here's one from Puppy A1, who took it as an opportunity to short Maxwell Technologies, a company Tesla acquired in 2019, reasoning that he would get paid both ways. Well, let's read this. So he was replying to Tesla Q podcast and Pivotal Capital, a couple of other Tesla Q members. Shorting Maxwell, still the best synthetic short on Tesla, or Tesla Q, the idea that Tesla was going to go bankrupt. Since you get paid both ways, if Tesla stock falls aggressively below 247, or if the deal breaks, which is also possible if S4 never deemed effective. So Tesla bought Maxwell Capital with Tesla stock. So Jeremy thought it was a super brilliant idea to short Maxwell after Tesla had already made an acquisition offer for that company, believing that Tesla was on the verge of bankruptcy and that he would make money either way. He did not make money because Tesla bought Maxwell Technologies. Next, a tweet from Hedgeye, who shared a meme that in retrospect can cut both ways, captioning it, "Cartoon of the Day, Beware the Ides of March." So Model Y was revealed on the 14th. The Ides of March means the 15th. From an ancient term for halfway through the lunar cycle. So the new moon would begin each month under the ancient Roman calendar, and the Ides would be halfway to a full moon, which would happen on the 15th, because you got a 28-day lunar cycle. Next is a tweet from Jalopnik. Helpfully redesigned Model Y to give it a more traditional SUV appearance. Yeah, we fixed the Tesla Model Y. You're welcome, Elon, said Jalopnik. Look at this. Can I make this bigger? Only that much bigger. No, I might be able to click it one more time. No, I can't. That's it. And they watermarked it Jalopnik on here, so yeah, there's your Pontiac Aztec inspired Model Y design from Jalopnik. Great, great work on their part. Here's one from Fly4Dat. What was he doing back then? The same thing he still does today, finding one-off anecdotes to confirm his belief in Tesla Q and hashtag no demand. Except, of course, the demand from Jonestown-like cult of Tesla fans. Model 3 EU ordered on March the 13th, delivery scheduled for March the 22nd. Well, if you can find one vehicle in Europe that can be delivered within 9 days, that means there's no demand for Tesla products. That was the reasoning of Fly4Dat. Thomas Smith replied, you can only hope they miss the date, and you can try to get your money back to avoid taking on the nightmare of Tesla ownership. Thomas Smith did not anticipate that S&P Global Mobility's research on Tesla owners would reveal that when Tesla owners go back to the market to buy another EV, 95% of the time they buy a Tesla again. And then this one, we don't know what it was because it has been deleted since by the author, but Fly4Dat's reply was, Jonestown inhabitants were very happy too. We know what he means here from having seen many other nasty, trollish Tesla Q tweets over the years, that they think of anyone who would buy a Tesla as being a cultist or a resident of Jonestown, the ill-fated South American community of Jonestown, run by Jim Jones. Next tweet, coincidentally or not, Business Insider published its now notorious Lopez Lynette video about how Tesla had basically an open field with some digging going on. Here's that caption over the field, the mud field in Shanghai with a red flag in it. While Sam Antar echoed her concern for Tesla bag holders living on hope. Those bags got heavy since 2019. The share price of Tesla has appreciated in value more than a 10x since early 2019. Here's what Sam E. Antar had to say when he retweeted the video from Lynette Lopez that ended with, but what Tesla doesn't have right now is a factory. Well, by the end of 2019, Tesla did have a factory because they converted that open field with some digging going on into the Tesla Shanghai Gigafactory, and it was producing Model Ys by the end of that year. So that, what was the caption on her article? Elon Musk said Model 3s will come out of China by the end of 2019. Here's why that's hard to believe. So it must have been the Model 3 that they produced first, and then they made Model Ys when they expanded further. But what did Sam Antar say? This is the cousin of Crazy Eddie Antar, famous accounting fraud case. Sam worked for Eddie Antar and helped him do the fraud, as the kids say these days, of the Crazy Eddie business. They were overstating their inventory and jumping through insane hoops to keep the auditors guessing on what they were doing. Really wild stuff. You could make a movie out of it. Crazy Eddie Memoirs, bag holders don't care about past performances, broken promises, and lies. They live on hope. Yeah, so Sam thought that Tesla was a shell company, the same as the one he helped build, and never going to make any real profits. Here's one from Tommy Thornton, who predicted Tesla was either a $50 billion stock or it goes to zero. No other outcomes possible, just those two. So, via Tommy Thornton, Tesla going to make a 5-month closing low. This is a black or white stock. It either is near 50 billion market cap or it goes to zero. This can't survive as a smaller company with the huge debt, low cash levels, and competition coming after them. So there you have it. That is what the short sellers really believed in early 2019. They thought Tesla would never be able to pay off its debt, which they have done by now. They would always have low cash levels. They've had more than $15 billion in cash at all times for years now. Or at all quarter ends, I should say. We don't know what the cash balance does intra-quarter. And competition coming after them. Hashtag Tesla Q, hashtag Tesla. Yep. And here's one from Marshmallow Peep that he actually took exception to. He thought he was right and replied and said so. I did have to follow him briefly for him to be able to reply, but he was upset that he couldn't reply. So I followed him and let him know that he could reply. Concerned Model Y looked too much like a Prius and not enough like a Honda Pilot or a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Saying Model Y, it's like a Prius, except you only get 100 seconds with it in the dark. The proportions in real life are more Toyota Prius than Honda Pilot or Jeep Grand Cherokee. Funny. Pol's Tesla and Robin Ivsky shared separate concerns. So, Pol's Tesla, why doesn't Elon just give up on the silly idea of the S3 XY line of cars? Pride, vanity, stubbornness, or stubborn, vain pride. And stubborn, vain pride got the lion's share of the 48 votes that Tesla polls received in total. And the one from Rob Forth here, the thought that Tesla might have showed an early abandoned Model 3 prototype as Model Y is quite fascinating. Anyway, Elon Musk is a hell of a con artist to stand next to a Model 3-ish prototype and proclaim, behold, our SUV. Hashtag Tesla Q. They did not think that anybody would buy Model Ys. And then I said I'll close with this one from longtime Tesla Q believer Brad Munkin warning how tough a time Model Y would have competing in Europe against the Germans, who were going to make Tesla's supercharger network obsolete by the fall of 2019. That's what Brad really believed. So this is hard for you to read. I'll read it. So the Model Y unveiling was a flop, Brad Munkin said. On March 15th, 2019, the morning after the Model Y unveil, Musk spoke for 55 minutes, of which greater than 10 minutes were spent on the Model Y. I think he meant to say less than 10 minutes were spent on the Model Y, I guess, adding to the toll of Brad Munkin iniquities. He doesn't know which one is greater than and which one is less than. He didn't even mention where it will be built, and the affordable 39K version won't be out till 2021. It's obvious Tesla is desperate for cash by Q1 end, 2 weeks from now. Unlike the Model 3, which could be reserved for $1,000 back in 2016, deposits for the Model Y go for $2,500. A true sign of Tesla realizing they won't get more than half the 500,000 orders they did for the Model 3 after so many delays in delivery. So what people kept missing in the Tesla Q camp here was that Elon was trying not to Osborne the Model 3 while they were still working on ramping up the factories to produce Model Y, right? He didn't want the same thing that happened to John Osborne to happen to him, promising people a vehicle that was better in every way, and then having all of them cancel their orders for the current vehicle being produced while waiting for the one that that never came out because the company went bankrupt trying to produce it when their revenues dried up. Next, Brad tweeted Model Y high-end versions versus European rivals. Tesla will have a tough time. For roughly $2,000 more, you can buy the more luxurious and reliable SUVs from Benz, Audi, or Jag. Model Y might have slightly more range, but the rivals have quality and esteem for just $2,000 more. Well, I happen to have a handy reference here. So here's what the 2022 sales were like in Europe. For the top 10 premium vehicles, the number one premium vehicle sold in Europe last year was the Model Y, selling 137,819 units in Europe. And the number two selling vehicle in Europe was the Tesla Model 3, selling 92,150 units. Where are all the other ones that Brad Munkin said were going to outsell Model Y? Benz, Audi, Jag. Here's the Jaguar I-Pace listed right next to the Model Y Performance. He thought it compared favorably. Where's the Jaguar I-Pace? It is not in the top 10 vehicles sold, so it must have sold fewer than 23,362 units in Europe last year. What were the other ones? Yeah, Benz, Audi, Jag. So there's one Mercedes-Benz here. There's two Audis, and they're both e-trons that combined make about 50,000 units worth of sales. Yeah. So he was. I guess you can authoritatively call this wrong, wrong, and wrong. Then Brad Hall replied, "Superchargers, the left hook no one's talking about." And Brad Munkin replied, "Yeah, Tesla Q does have the best charging network, but the Germans, VW Group, will make it obsolete by this fall. And VW is thinking on global terms, a choice which Tesla Q never really considered, because they were first in line, hence their charging technology is bunk." Yeah, so Brad Munkin was certain that VW was going to make the Tesla supercharging network obsolete. So I did have to tag on one more when CalMix brought it to my attention. Bonus content from former GM Vice Chairman Bob Lutz, the guy who thought the Chevy Volt looked good, threw shade at Model Y, which he characterized as terminally ugly, predicting sales will be largely substitutional to the Model 3s. That's what these exhibits say. I don't guess I have to read them to you. But yeah, even EV fans have stated the same concerns with Model Y and Model X, but they forgive these vehicles with the form follows function argument. In other words, the Model Y and the Model X have to be that way to improve aerodynamics and be more efficient. For Lutz, that is no excuse for the way these vehicles look. Well, close to 1 million people last year thought the looks looked okay to buy a Model Y, and perhaps over 1 million people this year will buy one. Likely over 1 million Model Ys will be sold in 2023, is my forecast. We'll see how that pans out. And then I did have to correct for that point that I mentioned up top. Tesla Model Y was the best-selling BEV in Europe in 22. It was not the best-selling vehicle of any kind. Electrek confused me with the wording of their article. And that is today's video. So we'll check back in with Loki, where even though I put this up at its highest setting, you still can't see Loki because he ducked down so far. There he is, napping in bed. And with that, I will close the video and say, if you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click the like button. And if you're interested in supporting me, there's a couple of different ways you can do that, through Patreon or by joining my YouTube channel, as my executive producers Kathy Kitchler and Halter Ferguson Financial did at the highest support tier. But it's always free to like or to reply or to comment or to subscribe to my channel, which you can do over here. and to click the notification bell to get alerted whenever I post fresh content. All of that is free from me to you, and I'll see you in the next one.